Hello and welcome to Sustainable Warriors, our recyclers. And today's series, we welcome Mr. Manvendra Vikram Te, a manager business development from Exigo Recycling Private Limited. So, welcome, Mr. Manvendra. A warm welcome to you on behalf of eWaste Social, a B2B auction platform connecting corporates, industries, businesses, generating electronic waste directly to the registered recyclers, thereby ensuring that no waste goes into the hands of underage children or into the landfills without being recycled. So a little bit about Exigo. They collect all types of e-waste generated pan-India and disposes the same into their plant. They have a huge capacity of 24,000 metric ton per annum, and they started their operations in the year 2012, which is like 8 years. Their corporate office is in South Delhi, whereas their factories are their e-waste plants are in various parts of the country. So coming back to Mr. Manvendra, how has been your journey into the e-waste recycling bin? Like, when did it start?
Um, Thank you for that introduction. There's just a slight correction that the corporate office is in Noida and
Okay,
the registered office is in Delhi.
okay,
And if we talk of the journey of the organization, yes, it has been a very interesting journey, which started from catering to the providing solution to the informal sector by ensuring that whatever they are unable to recycle in a proper manner, we used to take in and recycle it using machines, right? And
okay,
thereon, when the e-waste rules 2016 were announced, the journey became like it sort of started galloping because uh, the data was available in numbers, right?
okay,
And the government also supported there by fixing those targets. And after that, we entered into lithium-ion battery recycling, plastic waste recycling, and the waste to energy process also we started at our factory. So it has been quite an interesting journey for the organization till date.
okay. That's great. Like, and like Exigo is one of the pioneers in the recycling industry. They have been here for a long time, and they have seen the informal sector very closely. And that's the biggest advantage, I think, what you have over other recyclers, because you've seen from the ground root, like how the operations work. So how about you? Like how has your journey been shaped into the recycling industry, and what made you get into this industry on a
So,
personal front? Yeah.
so when you talk of my journey, it basically, if someone wants to enter this industry, inclination towards the environmental aspect is very important there. So unless and until it is there, this industry becomes very boring then, right? So if you are interested in seeing a better future for the coming generations, or ensuring that uh, the global goals that are there, like what recently have been announced by in 2016, which are announced by the United Nations, which ensures that all the sectors, all the aspects of the entire humanity is covered in those 17 SDGs. So, if you have that sort of a seeking spirit, or that sort of spirit which wants to really contribute to this change that is required for the betterment of humanity, then this field becomes an interesting one.
Yes, yes. And we totally agree with you, because recycling is just one step towards the, the whole concept of sustainability. So if you want a sustainable future for our for our generations to come, recycling is just a part of it. And only if you are, yeah, if you have the inclination towards sustainability, then you will be able to prosper and progress in this recycling industry. And as you very well said, that it would get boring if you are not passionate about sustainability,
Yeah.
and that's the true a very true thought. So how about your education? Like, so what has been your main education focus had been, like, initially before you entered into recycling industry?
So I have been. I'm a commerce graduate.
Okay,
I have done MBA from Delhi, and
okay,
then I worked in sectors like FMCG, telecom, consumer electronics, big brands some I've worked with. And then finally, I started this recycling career 6 years back.
Okay.
And 6 years journey has been very much, there's been a lot of learning. And because of the inclination, as I said, I already had, the rules also supported us. And also if you look at the entire globe also, the inclination towards the sustainability side is so much. uh, Plus this pandemic also has added to a lot to it. And so that is what it has been till date, the journey.
So it's very inspiring to know, like, that uh, young people and, like, youth who have done commerce, MBA, and all, and have worked in FMCG, consumer electronics, still want to get into the recycling industry. So we see a hope that we'll have more talent coming into the industry, because we need a cumulative effect for it to prosper and progress. So only one person cannot do. We need to create an ecosystem for this, and I think we need more youth, more talent coming into this industry for it to go into the right direction. If not only it becomes lucrative for the younger generation to come into recycling industry, but it also becomes the, like, the need of the hour to look at sustainability as a choice of career. So thanks so much. So what has been your biggest learning during your 6 years at Exico? What do you think is, like, the biggest, like, the most important thing that you have learned? I know it's a tricky question, but it would be great if you could give us one instant, like, what's been your learning.
Yeah. So this industry, being unorganized, majority part of it, 95% is what it says. It is said. The key aspect becomes the information. So the right information, the people with the right intent to guide the stakeholders in the right direction, telling them exactly what it is, without bringing in that fear part in them, and telling them yes, it is possible to be compliant with the regulations and rules that government is coming out with. And taking them, hand holding them, making them understand that yes, how it, whatever the government is expecting, it is not that it is out of the blue it has come up. It has been implemented by many governments across the globe, and then it has come to India, and which is possible here also. So that information part is what I've learned is very important. And there's a lot of there is very less people who give right information in this industry. So that is my key learning in this till date. Till date, it is the same.
Yeah, so communication is what Mr. Maninder says, like, is the most important. Like, you need to communicate to our partner, and that's what we at eWay Social, we believe that recyclers are our partners and not competitors, because we are not in your competition. We just want to assist you in getting the best waste and nearest waste to you. So coming to the pandemic, like, how has it affected you? Or is it like that, since you are a large recycler, and it's going to be a good perspective coming from you, you have a large recycling facility, that if you are not at all affected by it, or did it affect you?
So in the first lockdown time, it affected almost everyone. We were
Okay.
no exception. And post that, from May 2020 onwards, things started improving bit by bit. Things are stable right now, but yes, the impact on the recycling side has not been that severe, I would say. It has, yes, affected the supply chain, the sourcing part of it, but then it has not been that grave.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we learn is, like, pandemic has actually increased the consumption of electronic, and recycling is going to be here to stay, and large recyclers would be not that affected as how, like, a small time recyclers are. But what do you think about, like, any measures or any initiatives have you taken for the informal industry who works along with you during the pandemic?
Uh, No, there has been no such no specific initiatives which have been taken. But yes, how do we support is that we can help them in by increasing the credit limit part and all those the financial aspect of it. That is how we can help them to. We can delay the payment cycles and all those things, right? So that is the way we were able to help them.
Okay, okay, that's a great thought, like, and because only if you let the informal sector also, like, benefit while you're working together with the industry, it will create the ecosystem more, make the ecosystem more robust. So, like, what do you think that, like, if the biggest challenge of working in this industry has been for you?
For me or for the recycling fraternity you're asking for?
You can answer it on behalf of the recycling fraternity or on behalf of Exigo, or whatever, if you feel like, any personal like, challenge you have faced in the industry, uh, or anything is welcome, like, whatever you feel comfortable.
Yeah, as a recycler, I would like to point out a few things. There are certain the targets basically that or the authorization that is given to recyclers by various state pollution control boards. Probably that is something. There's a recent development that has happened in Haryana. I can talk of is that the targets are based on product category code wise. That what happens is that it gives a very clear cut idea to the producers or to the bulk consumers who are disposing of their e-waste, that these particular recyclers are authorized for this certain sort of e-waste only. And uh, uh, the this sort of practice basically, it helps in ensuring that a recycler, suppose if does not have a certain process or does not have the certain machinery for processing a particular type of e-waste, will not take that e-waste from any of the disposers, the producers or the bulk consumers are disposing it off. Similar sort of practice has to be there across the pollution control state pollution control boards, so that there is clear cut demarcation who can process what.
Okay.
So that is one challenge that we face as recyclers here in Haryana, I would say. And also, when it comes to the offtake of whatever we produce after recycling, right? The end product, the output. If there are buyers for that output, right? Or if there is any kind of subsidy on that output or any preferential buying happens for that output, it becomes more interesting for the recycler to uh, produce more of it, or to it becomes commercially viable also, right?
True,
Because you
true.
have an assured source wherein you can give that output. But and if there is a preferential buying, then X percentage of recycled metals have to be taken from the recycler. If that is something is, uh, is brought in as a part of the laws or the rules, then it becomes more viable for the recyclers also, and more attractive for many more people who really want to enter into organized side of recycling.
True, I agree with you completely, because only if the incentives and subsidies are given from the government as well as from the corporates, like, they have to ensure that only if a recycler would be able to recycle only if the, like, he has good enough margins to recycle. Otherwise, like, there is no objective to recycle at loss. So I agree with it, and that's why we urge corporates in every webinar that please don't like, try to get the maximum value out of the waste, because that's waste for you, and give enough benefits to the recycler so that they are able to efficiently recycle it. So basically, we need a mindset shift wherein we see recycling as uh, a step towards sustainability and not a step towards making money. So, and we are urging all corporates to do that. Like, recycling is not to make money; it is to is towards sustainability, to achieve resource optimization. And we also, like, I totally agree with your thoughts that we need a, like, platform, and soon, like, wherein, like, these materials could be sold, so that it is easier for recycler to sell their material, and easier for companies who want to, like, buy or produce goods out of repurposed metals or plastic. That's great. So any suggestions or feedback what the government, and, like, any subsidies that you are looking from the government side, what would be beneficial to the recycling industry? What are your takes on that?
So one is that when we talk of making recycling sustainable, right? So there are thoughts that like, so I'll cover one more point here. Sorry, I missed that point. So there is one more query that that is there, that the recycling capacity of a recycler is decided based on the land size. So this particular part has pros and cons both. So the benefit is that anyone who wants to enter this field needs to have a sizable amount of land to enter this formal side of recycling, and will have a limited capacity based on the land that is available for them. And the flip side of it is that uh, because of this, the cost goes up. So if the government has some scheme or some offering for the recyclers to help them in setting up, or some subsidy in land and building, right? That would justify this aspect also, where land has fixed amount of land has to be there for certain capacity, and also it will make it lucrative for the recycler to enter into this field, because that is the majority of the cost, wherein the majority of the cost is the land and the building part, right? So that is one thing. The other thing is that uh, now a question comes in, that when we talk of what sort of a recycler is there any grading mechanism of recyclers? Suppose there is one recycler, there is one dismantler and one recycler. There are two categories, it's already there. But in recycling also, there are people who can just uh, do primary processing. Like in terms of, in case of refurbishing, if you look at, there is L1, L2, L3, L4 repair, right? Similarly, in recycling also, there are various processes, and not everyone is expert in each of these. So that also can be graded, that okay, this particular recycler can do L3 level of processing of e-waste. L4 is, that is refining part, is someone, this particular X recycler can do it. So that grading system, if it is brought into the Indian recycling ecosystem, it will help a lot in really incentivizing or identifying those who are actually capable of recycling or upscaling, or recycling certain material in a certain manner, right? That is one thing. The other is that if we really want to make recycling sustainable, the concept of circularity, I'm not saying that 100% has to be brought to start with. To start with, if it is implemented even 10%, not for the entire items that or all the metals and plastics that are there in the electronics, but only suppose if you take plastics only. For example, if there is X brand which has got a target of suppose 50,000 tons of refrigerators to be recycled, so from that refrigerator 50,000 tons, there is 5,000 tons of a certain type of plastic that comes up, right? If we take 10% of it. So if they are ready to take that 5,000 tons of plastic, that quality of plastic back into the system for manufacturing new refrigerators, that start itself will help us in revive or changing the course of this the way this industry is moving. So it will help us in going more towards circularity, which even the government of India is also emphasizing on these days.
True, true, true. So yeah, so circularity is like, is here to stay, and hopefully, like, we will have more corporate industry, manufacturers taking back the plastic which is recycled or repurposed, and the metals as well. Totally agree with you, Mr. Manvinder. And what about what is your take on the EV segment, which is fast growing, and how do you think, like, is India prepared, or is like, are we prepared to recycle that much amount of batteries and the vehicle them itself?
The lithium-ion battery segment is a very fast emerging segment that is coming up, and there have been a lot of incentives by the government also to increase the use of electronic vehicles. Hence, the resultant thing will be that there'll be a lot of lithium-ion battery waste that will be available for recycling. A lot of technologies are also available for recycling, but then the question again comes back on the scalability part of it. So, are we setting up systems which are scalable? Is will be the question always there. And yes, that particular segment will definitely grow. As far as Exigo is concerned, we are completely into it. We are setting up we're setting up a unit for particular for this part of EVs, and very seriously looking at this lithium-ion battery recycling. Yes.
Okay, okay, and that's great to know. Like, any connect for lithium-ion battery, we will connect with Exigo. Thanks, Mr. Manvender. Any parting thoughts you want to give it to the audience who's watching you?
Yeah. The only thing I would like, again, I would like to emphasize on the information part of it, right? Uh, in this industry, information is the key. Connecting with the right people, getting the right information always helps to do the right thing in the right manner. So that is what I have in mind to part with.
Yeah, thanks so much for such an insightful talk. Like, you gave us the industry inside knowledge, and how it can be, like, small changes if the government and the corporates can make. What, like, we can make tremendous change to them. And again, like, a parting thought from my end would be, let's not take recycling as a, like, a profit making industry. Definitely, like, we need to incentivize the recyclers to ensure that they are able to recycle appropriately, because once they recycle appropriately, the circular economy works, and that's how like, we have a more sustainable approach towards any of our production or consumption. So thank you so much, Mr. Manvinder. And we at eBay Social are trying to connect corporates, businesses, industries directly to the registered recyclers, thereby ensuring no waste goes into the landfill or into the hands of underage children. Thanks so much for your time, and wishing you all the best. And we will like, compile all of this, and try to, like, put it across with the corporate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hiram. That was really nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you.